Let's talk about it. Hi, I'm Andy, welcome to Screenfire. If open world games are usually not your favorite type of game and because of that you're still not sure if you should give Allah's Adventure in the Forbidden West a try or not, you've come to the right place. But don't worry, there will be no story spoilers in the video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a like at the end and subscribe for more. As always, this is just my opinion, so if you see it differently or if you agree, let us know in the comments. I always have the feeling I'm walking on thin ice with AAA games or movies or anything. You know, it's hard to develop open world games. Most of the time I lose interest because the world is just too big, the side quests are repetitive and the story is boring. In the last console generation there were only 3 open world games besides Zero Dawn that really hooked me. One was obviously the brilliant Red Dead Redemption 2, the other one was Witcher 3 The Wild Hunt, and then there was the surprisingly atmospheric and beautiful Ghost of Tsushima. First I thought about adding God of War to the list, but it's not really an open world game. Anyway, let's talk briefly about Forbidden West's story. What is it all about and do you need to play the predecessor to understand it? Forbidden West continues roughly 6 months after the events of Zero Dawn. Mysterious tendrils called the Red Blight start to grow everywhere, and because of it wildlife is dying and people are starving. Of course, we play again as Aloy. Our old companion Silence lures us into the Forbidden West, and as things unfold we need to save the world. Again. It's all about the AI Gaia again, and I have to say there weren't as many plot twists in the story as we had in Zero Dawn. Yes, sure, there are some new and cool story elements, especially with, let's say, new people you don't expect to show up. But the plot isn't as cool and unpredictable as the first one. I really suggest you play the side quests because if you don't, you would miss out on so many exciting moments and details that make the world so much richer. That's something they really improved upon compared to Zero Dawn. You could play through the main story in 20 to 25 hours, but please, don't rush the game. Take your time and you can spend between 40 to 60 hours with the side quests. That is the perfect length for an open world title if you ask me. All above 80 to 100 hours does feel overwhelming and exhausting. And believe me, that's possible with Forbidden West, but we get to that later. Even though the main story isn't the heart and soul of the game, the world is just incredible. There's so much to see, it never got boring. The idea alone to have mechanical animals and tribes in a, I don't know, Stone Age-like setting is fascinating. If you haven't played Zero Dawn, there is a short recap movie in the game that explains everything you have to know. Of course, there are some characters who reappear where you have a different connection to them if you know them, but the game does a pretty good job in giving you the exposition you need to understand most of it. Let's talk about the gameplay. If you've played Zero Dawn, you will immediately get a hang of it. If you haven't, the game helps you out. Especially in the starting area, there are many moments where Forbidden West teaches you how to use the most basic skills such as climbing, underwater swimming, or using old and new tools and weapons. If you get stuck with a puzzle, you should try and switch on your focus mode to highlight a track or an object, and if you really don't have a clue what to do, Ella will tell you.
It's a dead machine. It must be a bristleback. That must be chain scrape. Jaruf said I could get my bow upgraded in there. Might be able to tinker with my other gear too.
Pretty much as in the last game. So, of course, you know what you also need your focus mode for? Analyzing enemies. They have a weak spot and some of them do more damage than others. Usually the weakest spot is on the back or somewhere where it's harder to aim at. but it's really satisfying to hit and see the armor, the metal parts flying off the machine and hitting the ground. It's similar to a headshot in, I don't know, Resident Evil or many other games where you can do body damage. It just feels right. And all the fights feel different because the machines all behave in a different way. When it comes to fights with humans, on the other hand, it's not the same. Yeah, armor parts can fall off as well, and the acoustic feedback you get with headshots is also pretty satisfying. But I have to admit, it was way more fun to fight against the robot animals. Not only because of the damage reward animation, they are just visually amazing. Pretty much at the beginning of the game there was a fight against a giant robot cobra, and I died so many times just because I wanted to look at it. That is what I meant with the world as the heart and the soul of the game. You know which games come close to that feeling? From Software games. Of course, I'm not talking about the difficulty. I played on normal and it was, well, normal, if you have the necessary rank, of course. Their enemy design is so different to what we see in most other video games. And in Forbidden West, it's not only the enemies, it's the plants, the tribes, the culture, the different locations. And you know, it once was all our world. What we know today that became what we can see in Forbidden West, and it feels alive. I'm honest with you, Forbidden West is the only open world game where I don't give a shit about the story just because everything else feels so alive. It doesn't mean the story isn't good, but there are different things in different games that motivate me. It can be the story, it can be the gameplay, it can be the art style. What I didn't like because of it was the HUD. It wasn't a deal breaker, but it's a design choice I wish the devs would have done differently. But I know you can turn it off, of course. What I really enjoyed was the freedom of choice when it comes to combat. Many times you can choose if you want to sneak your way through an area or stealth kill your prey. As in most open world games, the map is clouded and you have to work your way through the area to discover everything. But there's a different way. In Far Cry you have your watchtowers. In Dying Light 2 it's the windmills, and in Horizon Forbidden West you can climb 5 different tall necks. I'm talking about huge robot dinosaurs. First you have to do a small side quest to unlock them, and if you succeed you can try and climb them. You know what this reminds me of? Shadow of the Colossus. There's just something about climbing a living animal. What brings me to the philosophical question, can machines live? I don't know. Yeah, what else? Of course you have the usual weapon upgrades and 6 skill trees where you can level up according to your playstyle. Some skills are useful, others don't make that much of a difference. I don't think I need to go in any detail here just because it's pretty standard and what you would expect from the game, except for the new super skill weapon techniques that you need to charge up to use. You can also discover ruins to get rare items, and you can play Machine Strike, a 2-player board game that's kinda like chess. I'll be honest, I didn't play it a lot. It's the same with Gwent in Witcher 3. Those minigames rarely keep me interested, but hey, maybe that's something you like. I don't say it's bad, it's just not my cup of tea because I'm German and all we drink is beer. Thank you. As you can see, there is really a lot you can do in Horizon Forbidden West. And that is kind of a problem. I know it maybe sounds stupid, but as mentioned, I'm not a big open world fan because it can become exhausting and overwhelming compared to the first one. Zero Dawn did a better job not being overloaded. Don't get me wrong, I love the game, but I had to focus on the main and side quests or else I would have stopped at some point. I know there are many people out there who want to get as much playtime out of the game as possible, but around 50 hours is enough for me, with some exceptions of course. Let's talk about the visuals. I played Horizon Forbidden West on PS5 on an 83-inch OLED TV and it looked amazing. In fact, it's the most beautiful open world game I've ever seen. I can't think of any other open world game at the moment that has better graphics. But it's amazing for a last generation game, from what we are used to see from a last generation game. I know it's also on PS4 and the PS5 version is definitely better in regards of frame rate and detail, but I'm pretty sure the PS4 version held the game back in development from what is possible to achieve with the PS5. So, what is my conclusion? Is Horizon Forbidden West a game you should play? If you love open world games, definitely. If you love to get lost in an immersive world with tons of things you can do and you own a PS4 or a PS5, don't think about it. Buy it. It's a Sony exclusive and it's exactly the kind of quality you expect from such a title. And even if you're like me and you're a bit hesitant because it's just too much, buy it if the world is intriguing and exciting to you. Just play the main story and side quests and I promise you'll have a great adventure ahead of you. I'll give Horizon Forbidden West 8.6 out of 10 points. Don't forget to tell us what you think about Horizon Forbidden West in the comments. Do you like it? Is it better or worse compared to Zero Dawn, or are you waiting until you can get your hands on a PS5? Thank you for watching, and if you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe and give us a like. See you next video. Bye bye.